Create with Fran Sidney. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 57 of Create with Franz. Today we're going to talk about something really interesting. It's a question. Are you a victim or a victor? Yes. Why do I ask this question? Because when we look around and we look at how the mind works and how we always avoid pain and we tend to look for pleasure, we can see that sometimes this attitude can lead us to live like a victim, not taking action, and maybe suffer from preventable disease or breakups or problems because we have not taken action. Is that possible? Let's have a look. So just to get us started, I would like to just observe that we all know we live in a very fast-paced world and we do like to have fast solutions to everything. So you can Google everything, for example, a solution for a weight problem, you can put instant solution. You will find Weight Watchers and lots of ideal instant diet with very quick results. And for all the problems, we seem to want and to have available instant solutions. So maybe we tend to think, well, why make the effort? There is a solution for everything and it's really fast. And I want to give you a couple of examples and see maybe you relate to a period of your life when you have showed this lack of victory mindset, meaning you're like, oh well, I'm just gonna wait until things get really bad and then take action. First example, maybe we lack money and it's easier to go and get a new credit card and get into deeper debt and then to worry about it later on when we can pay back. Another second example that we see happening especially in the last 50 years is running to the doctor for miracle pills, surgeries, injection and whatever because we can't be bothered to change our lifestyle or add some exercise or add some good foods because it's too hard. Oh, I might just as well do an injection later on. Well, of course you can, but it's a completely different attitude. We are more in a victim mentality that gives the power to look after our health to somebody else. Maybe the government, maybe the establishment, the one that is in our country that gives us medicines, we are relying on them. How about relying on our own wisdom to actually learn about how our body works? No, it's too difficult, so we don't do it. Another thing I notice is a lot of times we have relationship problems, maybe with our kids or friends or with our spouse. And a lot of times people think that just dumping the partner and seeking the thrill of a new relationship is going to be just easier because then you don't have to face the issues for a few months. Everything is rosy and beautiful. And maybe we might even be in a victim state when we are thinking, well, I'm born like that. I cannot change, so I'm going to keep my anger issues, my bad habits. It doesn't matter how many people are hurt in my way because I just cannot change. So maybe I can take a medicine for that. And that's another point. Sometimes when we have behavioral problems, when our children have behavioral problems, it's so easy nowadays, in the last 20 years, to just get a pill, get a drug, get a drink to make us or make them feel calmer or more energetic or more productive, or just to forget the problems because we're not thinking about what is behind the actions that are connected to these behavioral problems. Sometimes it's not a pill that we need. Sometimes we have to really think if we can be part of that solution. And no, we don't have a time. So we run. The easy thing is just to pop a pill. And this is not to discount people who actually need one because they are very ill. But normally speaking, it's just too easy for our modern society to stop, ponder, and take the time to be a victor instead of a victim. Of course, we all love having everything really fast. For example, studies have shown and research has shown that when we go to a website and search for something, for a website, for a reply to a particular question, we might give 7 seconds, 10 seconds, and if it's not loading or if we do not find what we want, we're moving on to the next one. We cannot wait 10 seconds. Isn't it amazing how fast-paced we are nowadays? And how does that work? Is it the dopamine problem there? Are we used to have mobile phones all the time? We have this instant gratification. I don't know the answer, but certainly it doesn't look great that we can't wait. We can't make an effort for anything. It has to be fast. For example, I send a text to a friend and I want an instant reply. We get annoyed. Oh, she hasn't replied in 2 hours. What on earth is she doing? Well, maybe she has a life. Maybe she's working on taking care of the kids, or maybe she's somewhere else and she doesn't want to text for the whole day. So we do have this habit in this modern society. So Australia, United Kingdom, United States, most of Europe probably, where we're very, very fast-paced. And we need to slow down and we need to think, can I be part of a solution here instead of just complaining and going faster and faster? So that is my quest today. And I was wondering last week if a virtue of patience is actually gone, because it seems that the more time we're spending with mobile devices, with video games or endless internet browsing, constant stimulation, the less we are spending in thinking, pondering, thinking about the problems and seeking for long-term action and action plans instead of these instant and drastic solutions that are supposed to wipe away years and years of just pushing, sweeping the problem under the carpet. And this is becoming quite an issue because now we see young people and adults that are so desperate for instant results that are willing to undergo expensive and dangerous medical procedures of all types to cover up for years of neglect of their own health. And it doesn't work that way. I mean, the body is a wonderful machine. We have to treat it properly, just like we treat a nice car. If I gave you a Ferrari, you wouldn't just throw it in there and do nothing. You instead will be taking care of it, repainting any scratch, oiling, checking the engine, etc. And I think we ought to start thinking, well, I have a body, I have an emotional freedom to do what I want, but I also have a responsibility to take care of my behavior, take care of my health in a different way. And I have to remind this to myself all the time. I'm in charge of this. I have to do something about this. Of course, I'm not saying for even 1 second that we are causing all our problems, because of course, very often, almost daily, life throws at us very traumatic experiences of all sorts, and we all love when such bad things happen to us, something instant that can help us to sort out the immediate problem that is being caused by something else, not by ourselves. However, many times this is not the case, and up to 20% of current disease can be averted by taking care of a problem before it arises. And so it is very important that although things happen to us all the time, that we spend less time complaining and moaning and more time embracing a victor mentality instead of the victim mentality. In other words, we should not give our responsibility to someone else. Let's say, to keep ourselves well, to be happy, to be healthy is a job that we should not give to hospital, the doctor, the organizations, to the charity, expecting them to sort the problem that we have created. So if I keep drinking, let's say just whatever comes to my mind, right? If I drink so much that I need a liver transplant, of course, get your liver transplant, but surely the poor person who died and now giving you the liver maybe wanted to help somebody who had a liver disease that could not have caused by himself. And it feels very bad that we are filling up the hospital with people that could not be any better and healthier, but they chose not to take care of their health, and so many could avoid those problems. And it's very sad because the people who are really ill, who have not chosen, who have not lived in such a way to create an illness, have to wait and wait to be seen because we are clogging up the system with people that are really self-harming, emotionally and physically. What is really mind-blowing about this is that we expect others to give us an immediate answer to all our problems, but are we taking action to look at our problems and fix them? Are we looking at how this problem is being created? Are we taking responsibility? So if we want speed from everyone, why are we not tackling that problem with speed in our own realm for as much as possible? So it is very typical, and it happens to me. Sometimes we are finding ourselves always saying, well, it's not my fault that John did this, so now I cannot do much about this. And we don't want to sleep in the victim mode. This victim mentality, just thinking that other people owe us something just because we exist, and we are blaming them for our failures, for our problems. And we're really shifting the responsibility and blaming others for everything that happens, instead of doing something to really better our quality of life. As a therapist, I see this all the time, and we are absolutely normal in seeing that change in our way is not easy, because action, change are very difficult to embrace. They require sustained effort, they require admitting where we are making mistakes, they require sometimes emotional pain or even sacrifice. And of course, our mind will just do pretty much anything to save us from any pain, from any difficult stuff. So normally, all human beings will try to do everything possible to avoid feeling bad, and then will feel worse later on because the problem can get out of hand. Or maybe we are just living in this victim mentality and we have everyone serving us all the time because we don't move a finger. How does that make us feel? Well, you choose how you're going to feel. I'm not going to tell you, but it is normal and human. And it happens really all the time. So we just have to keep an eye and watch it to stop this becoming endemic. I'm going to give you another example since I'm full of words today. There we go. So for years and years, I've been studying the human body, and I trained to become a herbalist and nutritionist. I've always read books since I was very tiny, full encyclopedias. I just love learning about the human body. What can I say? It's a wonderful machine, and I was always attracted. But if I try to strike a conversation about it, nobody wanted to know about the immune system or about the respiratory system. They just wanted to talk about other stuff. And I understand that. And, I'm not even a doctor, so it's not that I can talk in jargon, but I just love to see how things fit together like in a big puzzle. However, nobody cares about the immune system, let's say it. But nowadays, everybody is rushing to get the perfect antibiotic or the antibacterial medicine or this and that, the perfect miracle that will quickly restore this immune system. And to be honest with you, you do not build the immune system with one single act. The immune system is based on every single cell of your body. There are probiotics, there is something called the gut flora that you build up with years and years and years of eating in a certain way. There is something called exercise and getting oxygen. There's something called movement and moving your lymphatic system. There are so many things. The immune system is the most complex thing we have, and it's based in our guts. So what you eat will have a huge difference on how your immune system will work. If you see, for example, in a lot of autistic people, the great majority have a huge problem in gut dysbiosis or dysbiosis. So there is an issue there. How our gut works will absolutely make a huge difference in how our immune system works. And also the immune system is different when we are younger or older, etc., etc. But this was not a topic until COVID-19 happened. And now we are rushing to get these miracle cures. Guys, you have to take care of your body. You have to start taking responsibility. You can't just, become really, really massively obese and diabetic and then rush to get something that will save you. Go back and after your jobs and everything, just think, hey, I now need to do something about this. I need to build this body, build this strength, become stronger. And you cannot do that in one day. It just doesn't happen. The best possible course is always to live a life where you're not living in fear of a deadly disease all the time, but you're doing everything possible to build those blocks like in a Lego house. Build all the blocks for good health. And there are books, there are courses, there are all sorts of things. They even teach us in school how to take care of our body. But guess what? we don't do it, and then we become ill, and then we might even die because our body is not surviving. And the same is for relationships. We have to work on them. We have to do something to build them in a very, very healthy way. Why? Because things happen to everyone. Accidents happen, disease happens, breaks up, they happens. But even if the healthiest people may experience a serious disease, who do you think is more likely to survive a disease? A sedentary person in not such a good health with mostly processed food, or an active person who has made lifelong efforts to eat healthily? This is a no-brainer. And so who is more likely to survive better when we lose a job, or when there is a breakup or something, or we have a bereavement? A person that is emotionally stable, that has been working on that, has been trying and sacrificing to learn how to keep balance, how to be still and be in the moment instead of rushing around the whole time. And maybe here I'm repeating myself, because I do remember recording an episode about resilience many months ago. But we want to always make sure we do not get this victim mentality taking over. And so think about who experiences, for example, the majority of muscular pain, stiffness, and arthritis. All those things that happen are they normal, or are they a little bit more common in those people who sit for their whole life, maybe eating food that is not very good, and stuck to their devices? They never move a finger, they never dance, they never garden, they never walk. Or could it be that normal people who are active and do some kind of exercise do not have so many muscular pains and stiffness and arthritis when they become older? We have to look in the hospitals. How are we ended up all in the hospital like that? Sometimes we can prevent so much of this. It's just amazing. And it takes exercise, it takes mindfulness, it takes emotional resilience. It's important. And yet, after failing to look after our body for many, many years, saying that we are very busy, we expect a doctor to become a miracle worker and to give us this instant fix for a lifestyle that has destroyed this beautiful machine that we have, which is the human body. So let's love it. Let's give it something that deserves attention and time. Many years ago, I read that those who do not want to spend 10 minutes a day exercising and doing some flexibility will have to spend a lot more than 10 minutes at the doctor's office for injections and steroids and something for the stiffness, because they didn't take the time before. So let's look at the time that we spend, that we invest, right, in our mental wellness and in our physical wellness, emotional wellness, as an investment, not as just a waste of time. Because we all need that time. I have to say that it is very, very easy to get to embrace this victim mindset, to say, well, I had to sit in my office, so it was not my choice. I had to sit for 8 hours a day. Well, great, this feels very comforting. I had to sit. That's fine. But sadly, when we pass the responsibility of our health to our boss, this will prevent us from really taking charge of our own health. Because if we're honest, what happened during our lunch break? Are we still sitting there, or are we moving? What happens when we are back home? Because, we're not in the office for 20 hours. Are we slumped for hours in front of a TV, in front of a computer? Maybe we could have spent 10 minutes walking or exercising. But we chose not to, because there was always something else. We didn't make it a priority because we thought, well, I'll do it another day. I think that this is very common. Most people don't spend the day thinking about their future, and yet we are building this future or destroying it with our actions every single day. And so the best way to build a future of joint pain or muscle weakness or a frail body is to sit the whole day and then to blame others because exercise is boring, the gym is expensive, we can't do it. So it's very, very easy today, but it won't be comfortable and easy when we age, when we're stuck in a wheelchair, when we're stuck in an old people's home. That's not going to be good, isn't it? And I have to say, I'm not telling you that you are bad. I'm not immune at all, because I have the same victim mentality many times in my life, and I look back and I said, look at me, waiting for people to take action, and it was me. I had to do it, and I didn't. And just to give you one small example, but I'm sure my friends will have a lot more examples if they remember me. when I was young and I had, when I was younger, because I'm still young, and I had two very small children, I lamented very often, oh, I have no time to exercise, I'm losing my fitness. I used to be a gymnast, so I was very flexible, and oh, this was all going away. And I kind of expected the walls to hear me and to volunteer to babysit my kids so I could have time for myself. And as of course, you get busy when you have children. So, and guess what? It didn't happen. The walls didn't hear me. Nobody knocked on my door and say, hey, can I just take the weekend off and, for you and take all the kids and I do all the stuff for you and you just rest. No, it didn't happen. And I grew more frustrated in the years passed. And then eventually I realized that if I wanted to make a difference in my fitness, if I wanted to feel more supple and not stiff, I was the only person that had to take the action. It wasn't my friends. I didn't have a government scheme or I didn't have a letter to be sent. I just had to realize that the responsibility sits squarely on my shoulders and nobody else's. And so I found ways to exercise regularly and it has now become a habit. And all I do is 50 minutes a day to exercise. So it's not really a lot. But when I don't do it, it makes a huge difference. I can tell the difference in how I feel. And as you can see, sometimes the easiest way to solve a problem is just to stop participating in the problem. So, and think, what can I possibly do about this? It's just changing the way we look at things. And here's my take after working with so many people about this procrastination, self-sabotage, and being a victim. We really need to put ourselves squarely in the center of our lives in this way. If we want healthy bodies, healthy relationships, and good job and whatever, we must remember we are in charge of how we act and nobody else is in charge of this. Really, they're not. And so what we do to our body should be our choice. What we eat, what we drink, how much we move, that should be our responsibility. We shouldn't be told what to do. And we should just think, what does my body need? Because we all have different conditions, different diseases, and different possibilities. And also, the words that we say to other people are also our responsibility. So how we treat other people, it's our responsibility. So it's very important not to blame others for everything we do. I was reading last week the words of Eric Thomas. He said, I removed myself from a victim mentality and took control of my life. I'm not just going to take responsibility for the success in my life, I'm going to take responsibility for the failures in my life. When you're willing to accept that you have a problem, you immediately become the solution. And I love that. We can become that solution. We can shift from a victim mentality to a victor mentality. The victim mindset produces a delusion of fault and blame that blinds us from the simple truth of cause and effect. So we can see the results all around us. What do I have to tell you? Just look around. Addiction, crime, alcoholism, violence, chronic illness very often are caused by a very complex mixture of environmental issues, what happens to us, to which we add the tendency to blame others and do nothing because it's hard. And I know how hard it is. And I'm not talking about those who are born with a problem, they've been abused, they've been made ill, things happen to us. Do not misinterpret what you hear. There are people who are trying with enormous zeal, with enormous sacrifice to overcome an issue, and despite all the efforts, it is still there. So kudos to them. Generally speaking, though, it's the simple things that we're not doing that can make a huge difference. And I can tell you that going for a walk every day is probably hard to arrange for most people. Choosing to pick an apple instead of a slice of cake is tough. Cooking from scratch instead of microwaving a ready meal is tough. Reading a good book or calling a friend instead of endlessly browsing the net doing nothing, it's a big effort. Or changing friends and choosing more uplifting people in our life who can influence us for a better is not easy. We know that. Everything is difficult. But as life progresses and we experience some of the problems, and everyone will have problems, but some will be caused by our own lack of action. Then our procrastination 20 years later will not be very cool anymore. And as we age, and we will feel stiff, tired, weak, frail, forgetful, and maybe ill, we might regret that we didn't spend enough time taking care of this marvelous machine that we call the human body. And as the extra weight piles on and the joints are painful, we will feel sorry that we could not resist those extra cakes, the fast foods. We couldn't do one more, maybe a little walk, because it's a natural consequence of our actions. And as our actions drive away friends and loved ones, because maybe we say harsh words, maybe we are hurting others without even making efforts to curb our anger, then we might end up lonely as we age, because our tendency to cut bridges, to blame others, is making it impossible for people to be around us because we are too negative. So there is something called the payback time, and it does come. And the best thing is to plan for it today. So if you are feeling that you are stuck in a life that is not what you wanted, if you see that you are part of a problem, then start becoming part of a solution. Make an inventory of your life. Look at what needs changing so that you can improve your future. So maybe this week we can all visualize a happier, healthier future, and we can try to take one small step to get to this happier, healthier future, whatever that means for you. Because disease will still happen and bad things will still happen, but it's good to know we have not been the cause of it. And we should not expect others to be the ones that have to make us healthy or happy or productive. This is our job, it's nobody else's. And it turns out that the great solution to all human problems is individual transformation, because when we change, the entire society changes. When we take our responsibility and we take action, the results are encouraging and we can lift others. We feel emotionally and physically better. And of course, we are then less depressed, less tired, and more driven, because we are more than what happens to us. We can define our future. So today, when you hear yourself complaining about something that is going on, check if by any means you can do something about it. Then do it now. You might be on the verge of a beautiful transformation. And as Abraham Lincoln said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. And that was it for today. Thank you guys for being with me today. It's been a pleasure to talk about how to go from victim to victor mindset. And next week we are going to be talking about how to develop a vision of your future based on your goals and values. And then we're going to talk about in September about the difference between therapy and coaching. And we're going to talk about, is hypnosis dangerous? And then in week 3, we're going to talk about why kindness matters, etc., etc. There will be a lot. I have a whole batch of episodes. So I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone how things are going with you. And please, if you like the episode, click like and share with all your friends, subscribe and leave a nice review so we can reach more people and help them with little tips every day. Thank you so much, and till the next time, take care and bye-bye. You've listened to Create with Fran Sidney.